And we are live. So this is my second stream today. I did an impromptu stream about an hour ago for some reason, unboxing a bunch of DVDs that I had pilfered from my dad's collection because they're just sitting there gathering dust. But I said that I would be back for the first of two that were planned. And here I am. I am the American Werewolf. This is an American Werewolf in New Jersey. This is episode 148. With me again for another Werewolf Wednesday, the least likely of werewolf accomplices. I have Sydney from Cinema Cities. So thank you for once again joining me on this Wednesday afternoon. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, always a good discussion. Usually you and I discuss films that are outside what I discuss with others. And so what was it we did last week? Oh God, I'm getting old.
After Yang.
After Yang. So yeah, After Yang. And it's not that forgettable. So, it's just, I'm having a senior moment here. Today, something a little different. I wanted to talk about a movie I saw that was released at the same time that the war in Ukraine broke out. And so it hit me fairly hard because we weren't dealing with alien invasions or some, apocalyptic event. It was just a war. And it was set in Sweden, so this Eastern European country. Although they don't lean heavily into telling you that it's happening in Sweden, where the country's just been destroyed by this, civil war that they never really explain. And it was a movie I wanted to talk about. One of the favorites that I've enjoyed this year, and a movie that to the best of my knowledge, no one was talking about, and that's Black Crab. So if you're ready, shall we get it going?
Yeah, let's do it.
Boogie woogie. Okay, so why don't we start off with you, because I usually go on for like 8 minutes. You patiently sit there and, I appreciate it very much. But why don't you start off with your impressions or anywhere that you'd like to with the movie? We haven't discussed it at all. I have no idea what you think about it. You may have wanted to, I have this whole thing. Well, just go ahead.
Okay, so you dropped it on me. I had never heard of it before, knew nothing about it. I didn't even look it up. I just put it on and I watched it. And I have to say that as far as action war movies go, it was probably one of the more inventive films that I'd seen, especially in terms of like the mission. Yeah. The way the mission was carried out, the sort of obstacles in their way on the mission. I got to say, I would never ever agree to do that because
look, we're just gonna have to lose. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You can find somebody else.
It's cold out there. All right, it ain't happening.
Yeah, because basically the mission is, like you said, a civil war is broken out, and it's in Sweden, and it's the wintertime, and the mission is basically to ice skate across the frozen ocean to an island to deliver these 2 secretive canisters, and that's what they do.
Yeah. It starts. I should say it starts off, and it stars the fantastic Noomi Rapace. And I've just been a Noomi Rapace fan since the Dragon Tattoo trilogy. I remember seeing those in the theater. We had a small theater that was just on the. I had grown up in this theater, seeing movies there. First movie I ever saw in there was The Empire Strikes Back. Much later in life, it started to lose money as the big multiplexes were coming up. But they had a phase there where they showed sort of art and foreign type films, and so you could watch those Swedish interpretations of the Steve Larsson movies, and I've just been like crazy about Noomi Rapace since then. I'll see almost anything that she's in. And it starts out, very much with it starts out with a flashback scene where this, civilian mom is in a tunnel. They're in a tunnel driving, and there's traffic going on, and I guess the war is occurring, but it hasn't started to hit civilian populations yet, or at least that particular civilian population. And all of a sudden, they're stuck in the tunnel because all the other cars have been abandoned in the face of these oncoming soldiers. And I mean, it's just a mom and her daughter, and bullets are flying, and she's just, a regular mom. She's not like, Wonder Woman. This isn't Gal Gadot who's going to whip out the lasso and, take care of business. And, it's not some action movie where, Charlize Theron's beating up a 400-pound guy. What she thinks to do is just to tuck her daughter in the bottom, like in the back seat well, where their feet go, get on top of her and cover her with a blanket. So you can tell automatically that this is going to be rough. It jumps forward into modern times, I don't know how many years later, where I guess she has enlisted in like these militias that are fighting this civil war in the middle of Sweden, of all places. But again, this was happening in the wintertime. And, we saw on the news all those awful things that were happening in Ukraine, like tanks running over people. And, you remember when, Ukraine was on the news, like every second of every day. And then, they just happened to drop this movie in Eastern Europe in the wintertime. And I was like, holy shit, this is awful. But because she's a local and has, of all things, skating experience, she's selected as part of a team. You're right. To traverse, I think, 100 nautical miles. Like Noomi Rapace's side is right on the verge of losing the war. And so it sets it up by showing you that this side that's about to win, this faction, is already attacking women. They're already attacking children. They're attacking civilian areas. And so there's like one little military outpost. It's like the last outpost, the last gasp, is on the verge of falling. The option is to send this small little group of ragtag people. This isn't like they aren't really even professional soldiers. They just happen to be able to ice skate 100 nautical miles across a frozen lake or ocean or, across the country to deliver these weapons to another, little remote outpost. And that's all they know about it. It's a very bleak film.
Yes.
It's a humorless film. I don't think that there's, much smiling or laughing going on, but it has a hell of an impact. And I was very disappointed that more people weren't talking about it. Most people have never even heard of it before. And of all things, I should say this movie is available right now on Netflix. And especially now in the cold weather season, this is a really good movie to sit down and watch. Pull a blanket over you and just sit down in your recliner or whatever and just, wow, what a flick. Oh, go ahead. I don't. Oh. Just jump in wherever you want to.
No, I was going to agree. It's very, I mean, if you want to be sort of, I don't know, sad, then definitely, like you said, there are no moments like to let up of the bleakness. It just keeps going and going for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of hope. There's a little bit of hope you're given, and then that's also snatched away.
Isn't that though? And I mean, maybe this isn't your your specialty in terms of genres, but most war films are very bleak.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. That is
Most war
true.
films. Now, this is a little bit outside of that because it's such a peculiar mission. But I mean, you look at any Saving Private Ryan or Black Hawk Down or any of these sorts of things. There's usually not too much happiness and joy. You might get some crass humor, or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah, but there's not even any of that. There's none of that there's none of that camaraderie bonding.
Because they're not a team.
Because they're not a team. Like, we don't really know anything about anybody. We don't know anything about the war. We don't know even if their sides are the good side or the bad side. Like,
and that's what I actually like that, because you sort of discovered more as time went on. And I think we were talking about this in After Yang, that they don't bother to explain everything. There's not that kind of dialogue or narration, exposition.
Yeah.
You're just kind of dropped into the middle of this hellish reality, whereas with After Yang, it was just this kind of almost meditative thing that was happening here, as opposed to this where you're just dropped into hell. She is recruited to be part of this team, picked up by this, because they're taking people on like transport trains. It almost looks like a Holocaust kind of setup when they pull her off that train, and then all those people are behind in the like the cages, and things like that. And she's immediately taken to this neighborhood, and sort of left to fend for herself. And immediately, like, these people descend on her, asking for money initially, or food, or anything. But they instantly just try to kill her for whatever she has on her. So things have descended to the point where, it doesn't seem like there are any good guys.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit, although not quite to this extent, of Cormac McCarthy's The Road.
That's very bleak.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's just, I remember I was hoping, they had hoped, because Viggo had been coming off the Peter Jackson trilogy, and then he had done those 2 movies for Cronenberg, and they were thinking that would have been the movie that got him to the Oscars, and then it wasn't even nominated. But it shows that example that you shake things up long enough and scare people long enough, and the bottom will just drop out. But she's, at first, her reaction to the plan is that this is never going to work. And so what they end up doing is dangling this carrot in front of her, because we find out that her daughter, in the flashback scene that isn't completed, it's just kind of cut off as we jump sort of suddenly into the future, is supposed to be in this place that they're asking her to go to. And so that sort of 180s her, where she almost sort of becomes the de facto leader of the group, because even though she's not the highest ranked person, she's the only person who actually seems to want to go.
Yeah, she really doesn't care about the mission, I don't think. She just wants to get those canisters there to get her daughter.
Yeah, she wants to get her daughter. I just got to drop off this, this weapon. It's going to change the tide of the war. Fine, the war is going to be over, but that's like a secondary consideration.
Right.
I should mention that this is also a foreign film. It's a Swedish film. So, you've got a lot of subtitles, but I like that, because when I watch foreign films, I have to actually watch them.
Yeah.
Put my phone down, or turn it off, and actually just sit there and watch it. And I mean, it's just, the cinematography was hellish.
Right. It's winter. I can imagine winter in Sweden already sounds like it's very, very dark and cold. It probably gets dark at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a lot of daylight.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that happened here seemed to happen at night as they felt it was safer to move. But I mean, the initial launch of the mission occurs during a shelling attack. So it's like this scene out of Apocalypse Now at the Dolong Bridge where just everything's on fire and you've got these 6 people or so just trying to put on ice skates.
And then they're skating across like frozen ocean as the lights are flaring in the sky.
Yeah, and it's just like the whole place is just on fire. And you imagine all those people are dead, and I remember one time in my life I tried to ice skate. I don't know if you do. It didn't go well.
I'm not a very good ice skater, but I don't fall. But I'm not graceful or elegant by any means.
I'm about 275 pounds. So to have some little thing that's about this narrow in the middle of my foot, and assuming that like somehow that's not the way that I tread terrain. So the idea of the transport and that they're doing this across this frozen lake because this one tundra for like the first time in 40 years has completely frozen over, I think adds instability. A great instability because you're not trekking across land. And I think the very first night, the captain buys it. Like the leader of the group, she dies instantly.
Yeah. I mean, I think the skating across the frozen ocean raises the stakes in a different way.
Go ahead, talk about that a little bit. What do you mean?
Well, usually if you're got a mission, you're crossing terrain, it's like occupied France or whatever. There's buildings. I'm thinking like, sure. Or like 1917, you've got trenches, you've got woods. There's nothing. I had a lot of anxiety watching this because they're just skating out there. It's like, there's nothing here. You can't go anywhere until you reach one of these like mid-ocean islands. That's
It reminded me a little bit of Apocalypse Now. All they've got is the boat.
Yeah.
Like the boat is, and it's a shitty little boat that they're, this isn't some, the USS Abraham Lincoln or anything. It's some little, shelled up, little motor boat. It's just a big piece of crap. And, you're kind of filled with amateur, it's kind of filled with amateurs, these draftees that don't want to be there anyway, and they're going on like the worst mission of like the war. And it's the same thing here. These people don't know each other at all. They're kind of being asked to bond, around it. And immediately on the very first night, the captain just falls through the ocean, falls through the ice, and just like she's dead like instantly.
Yeah.
And what, because it just, I can't even imagine falling into that kind of what, like you have people who take ice baths now, and do that kind of thing, but I don't think it's the same thing. You're not going to die of an ice bath, you're going to freeze, but you're not going to die. This is another thing entirely. And I was sort of struck by how, well, Noomi plays a good physical leader. She's got that thing. That at the same time, like it's believable. It's like a Sigourney Weaver, kind of thing. She reminds me of Sigourney. She's like a modern day Sigourney Weaver in that she sort of takes the lead, but not in the sort of modernist way where like somebody else has to be put down for her to do it. She just kind of naturally asserts herself in that position, and she's the only one who thinks to jump through that water.
Well, she has to because she needs to get her daughter.
Yeah, and that she's the only one who's actually motivated to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it sort of, becomes a team by necessity, and that, oh God, the captain's fallen. Holy shit, she's gone through the water to go grab her. And I love how she doesn't try to save her.
No, she cuts the backpack off. She cuts off her backpack.
Dead weight.
It's like, there's no point. I'm not dragging you, but I'm getting these canisters and I'm getting out of this water.
Yep, dead weight. I love that. There's a scene in The Rock, the old Michael Bay movie with Sean Connery, where Ed Harris is the general and he's holding the gun on this civilian and threatening Sean Connery and Nick Cage to bring the microchips or whatever that they want, or he's going to kill this guy. And Sean Connery grabs the chips out of Nick Cage's hand, throws them on the ground, and just steps on them and just smashes them. Like, we're not negotiating that way. And this had that same kind of feeling. No, we're not. We're not trying this. It's just give me the canisters, and sorry, but that's about it. It's great. The setting. Even without the fighting, even without the drowning, or you're just looking at the bleakest aspects of the elements, which are just, that's enough to do you in.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever read To Build a Fire, you realize that, it really doesn't take all that. It's technology that sort of puts man, at the sort of top of the food chain, but you take those things away and just, leave them out there to survive. And yeah, it doesn't take much to, knock you off that pedestal. Again, the idea that this is, because it sort of struck me as like an end of the world almost kind of scenario.
Yeah.
But it's just a war, and I imagine, I don't know, for some reason, maybe because it didn't have the big, huge battles of, a Ridley Scott movie or a Spielberg movie or, whoever makes a war movie these days, this, that, and the other. It just seemed more personal.
Well, I guess because it didn't expand really out beyond this group of people. We didn't ever go to like the comms room or over to like these people planning this and communicating information. We just stayed with our little team.
Yeah.
For mostly the entire movie.
Yeah, it's just this little group, and they're sort of getting picked off one at a time. And then it starts to really, and that's bad enough, but then it really starts to descend when you come up with the problem of Karimi.
Yeah.
Who's keeping the watch, but then not keeping the watch because he's caught trying to contact someone on the radio as the enemy is like approaching this house, I guess, for just an inspection and a sweep through or whatever. And didn't they have a fire burning too? So maybe it was because of the smoke. It might have, yeah, they did have because Numi Rapace was freezing to death.
Right. So they had to light a fire.
I love that when they took her shoes off and her toes are just like navy blue. And you're just like, holy shit. Like she was just in there for like a minute, but they got her in, back on the skates and, I guess they got to where they needed to go, but it just looked like they were going to have to chop her down, like half of her foot was coming off.
Right.
Very graphic without being bloody, in that sense, it gets the point across. And this is directed by Peter Berg, who's a damn pretty solid director. Are you familiar with him?
Wait, American Peter Berg?
Yeah.
Like Friday Night Lights Peter Berg?
Yeah, that Peter Berg.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was some Swedish Peter Berg.
No, he did the Lone Survivor movie. He did Mile 22, Deepwater Horizon, Patriots Day. I love Patriots Day. Hancock, Patriots Day. Have you seen Patriots Day?
No, I've seen Hancock. And Friday Night Lights is like one of my favorite, not the movie so much, but the TV show. I just love that show.
Okay. Patriots Day is about the Boston bombing, the Boston Marathon bombing.
Oh, okay.
And that's another fantastic film. So he just does these gritty kind of, flicks, and decided to take it to Netflix. Good stuff. They just instantly turn on Karimi, so they don't even trust each other.
Yeah, but I got to be honest though, I didn't really.
You didn't trust Karimi either?
Well, no, The only character I legitimately only cared about was God, what was her name? Aid. Her
Abe.
last name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Numi
It's
Rapace's character.
Carolyn Abe.
Caroline. Yeah,
Caroline Abe.
she's the only one I cared about. The other ones are sort of just like off in the periphery. We don't know anything about them. They don't really establish them as characters. So I'm whatever she says goes. I'm like, I'm on her side. Let her get to her daughter. I don't care what you have to do to any of these other people.
See, I sort of take the opposite tack, although I clearly saw Caroline as the leader, but they gave you just enough to humanize these people, like Karimi having a girlfriend. It's just a real simple thing. There's no depth to it or anything like that. But in this type of film, I didn't need it. The one guy. Oh God, what was his name? Malik.
The wrestler.
Yeah, but he owned
ice hockey.
Yeah, ice hockey.
Yeah.
And that he had been pilfering furniture throughout the war, and like when it was over, he just wants to open an antique shop. The one guy, I think the young kid, was it not Nyland? Was it Nyland? It might have been Nyland.
No, Nyland's
the lieutenant.
The lieutenant, yeah.
The lieutenant, but the one guy,
Gravik. Was his name
Gravik?
Yeah.
He just wants to go home. And then you've got Caroline who just wants to see her daughter. So they set up these very simple, little, character desires, or whatever, those little plot points that fleshed out just enough to make them human. And that in the end, even somebody like Karimi was just trying, but because it's a civil war, even being on the radio to someone they don't know, just like that, they were ready to kill him.
Yeah. But I mean, that was kind of dumb of him.
It was dumb of him, but it was.
It's also very human. I understand.
It was human, and it was just naive.
Yeah.
It was naive. There was no malice. There was no bad intent. He wasn't, trying to injure anyone. But you're in a situation where actually trying to contact your girlfriend could get you killed.
Well, and that's because also these are just like regular citizens. These are people. Well, not all of them. I don't think Nyland. I think maybe he might have been in the army.
He was a lieutenant. He was professional. Yeah,
professional. But everybody else is just
militia
off the streets, have come into the military to help defend whatever it is they need to defend.
Yeah. What was the kid's name again?
Gravik.
Granvik. And he tells that story about how he was in the mass grave. In his, he couldn't, it was like his best friend from kindergarten, but so much had happened since then, he didn't remember his name anymore. And that, 2 days after making it out of the mass grave, he just enlisted. So these are just these ragtag people. So, I mean, I think what really did it for me, there was the frozen mass grave.
Oh yeah,
I'd never seen anything like that before.
It was actually kind of pretty and horrifying.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It was like I reminded of that scene in the Two Towers where they're going through the marshes and all the dead people are in the waters of the marshes, sort of staring up at them, and you're just like, it's awful flick. I like the idea that you weren't told the politics of it. I didn't want to understand. I wanted to focus on what it was that they were doing. Finally, they come to that house with the old couple.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite scenes, because I gotta admit, I suspect everybody all the time. So
oh God, you're one of those. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely I would have saved their lives, because I'd been like, we need to inspect this place. I would have put them up against the wall, checked all over the place. It's a civil war. You can't trust anybody.
It's a civil war, but they don't trust the old people. Don't trust them either.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And I didn't get the impression that they had really done anything wrong. It was their home. And the old man just got spooked when Noomi Rapace sees the gun under the table,
Yeah.
sees the machine pistol under the table. And it just sparks off this shooting spree where they end up killing the old people. Karimi gets killed. And then you find out just after he dies that he really did have a girlfriend because she's trying to contact him.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it's awful. It's an awful, rough movie. And I think was it at this point that they actually break open the canisters?
Is it? I can't remember. I don't think so.
It might because Malik gets shot also.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That
Malik takes a bullet and won't let anybody. He won't let anybody look at it.
I was so upset with him for that. Like, let them look at it.
Yeah, he won't let anybody look at it, and then they make it to like that station house, or whatever that is.
It was like that this ship or something. I don't. That wasn't a broken up ship.
It's something, and Karimi's dead. They realize Karimi is innocent. The captain is dead. She never even got out of the gate. Now Malik has been shot.
Yeah, and he won't let them stop the bleeding. That's the thing. It's like, let them try to stop the bleeding at least, but he's just not having it.
Yeah. And I think at this point they start to want to know, and I can't remember who it is. Was it? I think it's Gronvik. He wants to know what's in the canisters, which I'll be honest, I hadn't thought about what they were actually delivering.
I agree. Now that you mentioned that, like, I didn't even think about what was in the canisters at
No,
all.
it never occurred to me. Like, I'm just so. That's the sign that it's a good movie. This movie is almost 2 hours long?
Yeah. I think I only cared in the beginning when they gave them the canisters, like, oh, what's in the canister? But then you forget about.
I don't think it even occurred to me because I saw this, like I said, when it first dropped. So it was like, March or something like that. So it's been about, 9 months. This is only second time watching it. I don't recall it ever like dawning on me to think about what's in the canisters. Why don't you take it a little bit from there?
Oh, when they about the canisters?
Yeah.
Is that when he tells that No, does Nyland tell them what's in there? No, he doesn't.
No,
not at that point.
No, it's Gronvik. Isn't it Gronvik who rips open the case?
Does he? Was it him who? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it's Gronvik who rips open the case because he just starts to get frustrated. Like he's like, Karimi's dead. He wasn't bad. Now Malik is shot.
He gets mad because no one cares that people are dying.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. And so, go ahead, take it for a second.
No, he gets mad that's probably the first time that like you hear maybe something relating to like the state of the war, because he's like, no one cares that people are dying. We're doing this mission, and he basically is like taps out for a minute, and Ede's like, I'm not staying here to die because the enemy's coming. She takes the backpack.
It starts to come apart.
Yeah,
it starts because half of them are gone, and they know Malik is going to die.
Yeah.
And I think that's what causes, because she's just like, well, I'm taking the pack and I'm going. Like, I'm not staying here with you guys. And I think he, at that point, pulls the knife out and cuts open because they pull their gun on him.
Yeah.
I think Nyland, is it Nyland or maybe it's Caroline, pulled their gun on Gronvik because he grabs the canisters to open it up and find out that it's like a bio weapon.
Right. But also in the meantime, Malik has committed suicide.
Yeah.
What? As he's
bleeding out, he decides he doesn't want to bleed to death.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to freeze to death. Or he doesn't want to be eaten by rats.
Yeah.
So he So he blows his brains out.
Yeah.
And that's at the point where shit really starts to hit the fan, because then Gronvik is like, what the fuck is going on here? What are we even delivering to this place? They open it up and it's just some bioweapon, which was the last thing that I anticipated. I thought it was like some secret information, or
Same.
it was a map, of some sensitive site, or maybe where the leader of the other side is, or this, that, and the other. But it turns out they're actually delivering a bioweapon to just be unleashed on the entirety of the opposing side. So women, children, civilians, the military, they're just going to wipe out everybody.
Yeah.
And so it brings into the movie the argument of exactly who is the good guy here. Are there any good guys? Are these people in the movie even good guys? I would argue that they're straying into amoral.
I mean, it's very much, we don't really have enough information, so I'm just assuming everybody's deep in the shade of gray.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough information to know what we don't even know what their agendas are. Like, we just know that they both want the war to end and they want their side to win.
Yeah.
And that's all we know about it.
Hold on a second. We got Patrick here. He's saying, Half Cheetah Wolf View, saying, greetings. What's up, Patrick? This is a great movie. Catch it on Netflix. Black Crab with the great Noomi Rapace. Yeah, I mean, it's dark gray. It's extraordinarily dark gray. So here's my question to you. Do you continue at that point? Because I think Nyland at this point, upon discovering what it is, just wants to throw it in the ocean.
Yeah, he's like, we need to burn it or throw it in the ocean. Man, I mean, I want my daughter.
Is she going to survive if you unleash a bioweapon?
I don't know if you even think that way. She just wants to I think you think, okay, I'm going to get my daughter, then I'll work it out from there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
if it wasn't the daughter situation, because that complicates it. If I was like in Nyland's shoes, yeah, just not even finish the mission. Just I'd disappear off the grid, get rid of it, dump it in the ocean, not even think about it again.
You're already off the grid. You got a couple people going with you. You try to get to the border or something like that and just get out.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a weapon of mass destruction here.
Yeah, I go back to that old people's house where that's off the grid and just stay there.
Yeah. Yeah, stay there for as long as you could.
Yeah.
But and again, this is where it starts to fracture even more. You get Nyland, Grandvik, and Caroline staying in the ice shelter, and then sort of Nyland on his own decides to take the canisters while they're sleeping and just leave.
Yeah.
Which I was actually, that's what I was rooting for. As much as I wanted Caroline to get her daughter, I wanted those weapons gone.
Yeah.
I didn't, and that's just me. Hold on a second. Just finished Come True and was blown away. I don't know what that is. Is this Noomi again? Yeah, it's Noomi again. I'm having a run on Noomi Rapace. She's had a great year. Last year with A24's Lamb. This year with this. Another video I'll be dropping soon. You Won't Be Alone. She's had a great year. It's fantastic. So I think my favorite action scene of the whole movie was the fight with Grandvik and Caroline against the 10 guys that are trying to charge them in that bunker. And Grandvik, who's just kind of this kid, becomes for like 3 minutes this super soldier.
But he was apparently he was a sharpshooter before, though, or a very good shot, because remember he took out the sniper earlier.
Oh, that's right. The one who shot Malik, wasn't it? Or something
he took out the sniper. Yeah. So apparently he does have like some extraordinary skills with the rifle.
Yeah, and that's just a great action scene, but then he gets killed.
Oh yeah.
And he just that's probably the most graphic scene in the movie is the death of Grandvik. And then she proceeds to run down Nyland and shoots him. Now, this is weird. The dynamic between Nyland and Caroline is weird because first he takes her to that place in the beginning of the movie and leaves her in the car, and she just leaves him.
Yeah, which good for her.
She just leaves him. So then it comes back now where he runs off with the bioweapon. She tracks him down and she shoots him.
Yeah.
And takes the weapon from him because, he's shot. He can't, And then, she's kind of at the end of her rope. And they actually make it to Odo.
Yeah, and he's hurt though. He's
bad. Yeah, he's hurt. He's hurt. Yeah, he's hurt pretty badly.
Yeah.
There's a really great scene where she wakes up in the hospital, I thought. And the doctor walks in and she realizes she's defenseless and she just kind of like covers up in a ball, like in the chair, that I just thought was great. It was just this small little thing that happened that just for a second, you saw more humanity than you had seen out of her pretty much through the entirety of the movie, unless we were going to the flashbacks.
Right.
The other one being where she's washing her daughter's hair while the bombs are falling.
Yeah.
And her daughter's yelling at her, "You're getting the water." It's like there's bombs going off like the next block over, just an absolutely batshit movie. Yeah, but maybe I imagine that's what war is. That isn't something that we as Americans think about.
Yeah.
In our streets and in our homes, that happens in other places.
Yeah, we've never had our streets blown up from under us.
No. And you wouldn't have thought about it in Ukraine, and until it started happening, and now it is. I was thinking of McCullough's book on Harry Truman, if you ever read it. And Truman said he never lost a wink of sleep about dropping either of those bombs at the end of World War II. He just felt it was absolutely the right thing to do to bring an end to the war. And, that was it. Here, there's a lot more struggling until Nyland and Caroline are sort of reunited in Odo in the hospital. And I guess they have their own things to work out between them. But they're awarded, like the highest medals, so on and so forth. And then we find out what the bait and switch is.
Yeah.
That they had was it that her daughter was dead or that no one
they didn't know where her daughter was.
Yeah, they had they had no idea where she was and had lied to her the entire time to give her the motivation, and it wasn't even the motivation to do a good thing.
Right.
It was the motivation to just blindly sort of bring this thing that's going to kill hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
They dangled the one thing in front of her daughter's life, in this reunion, just for that. And I love that one scene where she beat the living shit out of that
I
colonel.
I did too. When
she just,
her,
like she could barely walk.
Yeah.
But like this rage comes up out of her and all these people that have died.
Yep.
Who, may have died anyway because, of how shitty things are, but not like that.
Yeah. And she probably, that weapon would not have made it if they had not told her that.
No, because she didn't want to do it in the first place.
Right.
She's like, this isn't going to work. Like, this isn't, this is, she said, this is a suicide mission.
Yeah. And it was for the other people.
Yeah.
And I guess for her too.
Yeah. 5 out of 6 don't make it.
Yeah.
5 out of 6 don't make it. And then, she has the change of heart that the weapon has to be destroyed. What are you thinking at this point?
I'm thinking she's right.
But I mean, what? How are you thinking? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking like when she comes around, like I totally understood her reasoning for wanting, even after knowing what it was, to deliver the weapon. I get it. But now that she knows that she's been lied to, she's been used, and also that makes you question every single thing that's ever been told to you by the people who are directing you in this war.
Yeah.
So now it's like, you guys are all shady, and I don't want to be responsible for all these people dying. So yeah, we got to get rid of this weapon.
And I mean, you start off with them as civilians, bright sunshine, mother-daughter in the back seat of the car. And I think they put on a David Bowie song, didn't they, or something? I can't remember which one it was, but she's trying to distract her daughter from news of the war. But, they're sort of living a semi-normal life.
Right.
To this thing now. But, you see these people at the start of the movie attacking the civilians. So you take or you assume that the other side are the good guys.
Right.
And then you're just like, maybe there are no good, maybe just the regular people caught in the middle of the good guys.
Yeah.
And so they go on a half-baked mission to destroy this weapon. And the blood starts, the killing starts. It's bloody what they do to get this weapon back. And then I was struck when they finally make it to the lab where the weapon is, and she shoots that one woman in the hand.
Yeah, she does. She doesn't even think about it. The woman's no, I'm not going to. Bang.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't know if you caught this. The woman didn't recant.
No, she didn't. She called them traitors.
Yeah. She called, because the other doctor was like, yeah, I'll take you to it. Don't shoot me.
So she called him a traitor.
She called him a traitor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody's dug in here. Most people on one side or the other are pretty dug in here. And so that led me to ask, what happens if they lose the war? Is it that one side is doing awful things to prevent somebody worse from coming in here? Could that be the case?
I don't know. It's based on the book. I wonder if the book
is it based on a book?
Yeah, it's based on a book. And I wonder if the book fleshes out
you shouldn't have told me that. Now I will be right on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I wonder if the book fleshes out even a little bit more. I mean, obviously, maybe their some backstory, but also maybe what's happening, how the conflict started. Because I could understand for the film's sake, it's already at 2 hours. We've got to take some stuff out. So maybe it is best in movie language to just clear away all the outside info and just give us this group of people doing it and keep it very vague.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like there was a lot of fat on this script.
No, there was not.
Peter Berg is pretty tight with his direction and his stories. I mean, everything that happened here seemed to have a purpose.
Yeah.
So, that's my question. Do you deliver the weapon? Because what happens if you lose the war?
Yeah.
Do you drop it in the ocean now? Probably after you find out that they've lied to you about your daughter.
Yeah.
Because they've permanently, destroyed that sense of relationship or that sense of trust. But maybe even now they're not doing the right thing. That this has become such a personal thing.
Right. We have no idea.
Yeah. And so that's actually what I like. You're not seeing it. You're not seeing it. So they're not answering the question. They're not, answering everything for you. It remains a mystery. And so you have these people that are justified individually or at the micro level for what they're doing, but you have no idea what the ramifications are at the macro.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they have the bioweapon, but then they have super nukes. Who knows?
Yeah, and there's a tremendous distance between the person on the ground and the leadership.
Yeah.
you're not you're not the same. You're not the same. And so it turns literally into what Numi Rapace said it was going to be, which is a suicide mission. And she succeeds in destroying the weapon. And I just thought, oh man, like taping that grenade to the vial, and then just off into and just the explosion when it occurs as you see the body drop. You're just like, holy shit. Like it doesn't let up. It doesn't let up. And that one line that the colonel hits her was, think about your daughter. And she just says, that's all I ever do.
I kind of wonder now, thinking about it, if the daughter is dead, because remember how she'd have these little flashes like, Mom, wake up, you got to go.
Yeah, I thought she was dead.
So I thought that's what I'm like, well, maybe she is dead the entire time.
Yeah, they have no idea. I'm going to safely, at least according to my, sense of whatever, say that she's dead.
Yeah, she's dead.
She's dead. And she's, just respect, she's being, the memory's being used.
Yeah.
And you have absolutely nothing to make you think otherwise.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
Yeah. And like she says it at the end, that's all I ever do. That's all it is. And Nyland escapes.
To what? We have no idea.
Yeah, we have no idea what's going to happen. The action ends. The mission starts from the beginning it goes from the beginning of the mission to the end of the mission. You have no idea what happens what happens in the war. You have no idea who wins. It's just, I think it's an hour and 54 minutes of some really heavy war action. And some war drama, but not melodrama.
No, it's very, very much not a melodrama.
Yeah. It's a damn good flick. I'm glad, you're the only person I've talked to that's actually watched it now. And that is because
you told me
we're doing it for the show.
Yeah, I might not look. I didn't even see it in my suggested stream or anything. And actually, when I put in black, to search for it, it didn't even come up in the first few things of black. I had to put in black crab.
Yeah.
It's very low key.
It's not. Yeah, and all the it gets drowned out in the mainstream. But that's what I'm here for. So, to pull it out of there like the captain out of that ice water. No, get back over here. We're going to talk about this movie. So, yeah, I mean, a damn fine movie. Let me ask you, I'm going to ask you to what we've done. We didn't do it for After Yang, but if you'd like, we can double back on that if you like. I'd like to rate the movie. So typically what I do is from 0 to 5. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way up to 5. So on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 being like, I'd rather go the rest of my life without soap than watch this movie again. Or 5 being, this is cinema. What would you rate Black Crab?
If you do not, I gotta do 2 ratings. If you do not like bleak movies, because there are people that just, this is not going to be for them. I think you still might like it. So I would give it a 3.5 for people who are not dark films, turn them off. But I think there's enough going on. It's enough action and everything else that you'd be drawn into it. Yeah. If you enjoy bleakness like I do, I would give it a solid 4.
Yeah. Okay. I would give it a 4. I have no problem whatsoever with dark things.
I don't either.
I have this meme. I'll have to send it to you if I can find it. And it's about all the Batman movies since Burton's all the way to what they did with Matt Reeves. And every one is a little bit darker, like you can barely see Batman. And then by the time they get to 2025, it's just a black screen. And I put this heading up in the post. It's like, still not dark enough, So, yeah, I mean, you've got really good performances.
Yeah.
You've got I think you've got a very solid script here. Nothing. I mean, the ice skate. I guess if you could criticize something, it would be the ice skating, but it's done in such a way that you don't think to do so.
Yeah, I don't think it's because it's not outrageous because apparently the Swedish army trains for things like that. So this is
I
like
think most. Go ahead.
yeah. So it's not like an outrageous thing that they have to ice skate across this frozen ocean. I think it actually I kind of actually think it makes it a little bit more realistic because like yeah, this is what they would actually have to do.
And I think most militaries, at least at a certain tier, train for cold weather.
Right.
Because there's always a possibility that you're going to have to fight somewhere where it's cold. I don't know if that includes ice skating or whatever. God knows that's where I would come off the rails.
Yeah.
I tried it one time at a Flyers skate rink at Philadelphia Flyers, and yeah, that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, so if they have skiing, troops on skis, I can totally see troops on ice skates. And you know what actually I was thinking? That if they did this would actually be a good movie to remake in English. If they don't like sweeten it and like sentimental it up and all that stuff, but I could see this totally set an apocalyptic future in like northern Michigan or something with fighting factions. I could totally
Civil
see
War,
that.
the Civil War breaks out,
yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't want to say it. I sort of bit my tongue, but that was another reason that it hit hard because things are so fucking crazy here nowadays.
Yeah.
It feels like we're a couple of years away from it kicking off here. And between Ukraine and the past couple of years that we've had here, you're like, holy shit, and who would think of Sweden?
Right.
Who would think of if it was set in like some country that I'm not going to name, but whatever, someplace where you're used to thinking of wars happening, or something, then you would be like, okay, but it was just an odd setting, for something like that, and. It's good performances. Noomi Rapace hits it out of the park as always. Good stuff. Hold on a second. We got a couple comments. Patrick's still here. Noomi is an amazing actress. Yes, she is. Certainly more than a stupid scream queen. The atomic bomb was a war ender, but the firebombing of Japan's cities was a war crime. Okay. Well, is there anything else that we have not addressed in this film that you think we should mention? Except to say, for me personally, it's on Netflix right now. It's a Netflix original movie. So this isn't going off Netflix.
Oh, I didn't know that it is. Oh,
this is a Netflix original movie, which also means it won't be available on physical media. These original films don't transfer over to DVD or Blu-ray. Netflix doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, unless it's a huge hit.
I don't even think you can get like Cobra Kai, can you?
I don't know. I know you can get Stranger Things.
Can you really? Okay.
Yeah. But I'm kind of proud of Netflix for doing an original film and set in Sweden, allowing them to speak in Swedish.
Netflix has recently, this year, had a very good year. I'm not talking about Cobra Kai, although that's the dumbest show I've ever heard of, but I can't stop watching.
It's so entertaining, though.
Yeah. Like everybody should be in jail.
Yeah, but it's entertaining, and that's fine with me.
Yeah, this was the best season of Stranger Things since the first season, but they've also made original movies like this. Del Toro's The Cabinet of Curiosities. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I want to see his Pinocchio because I heard it's astounding. I heard it's extremely dark, and it's like a stop motion animation.
Yeah.
Like he goes back to the old school of animation, and I heard it's just next level. And I'm just a huge Del Toro fan. So Netflix has had a pretty good year. They did Sandman, Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and I enjoyed that very much. Yeah. Okay. All right. Patrick doesn't like Netflix. He says Netflix sucks. Okay. Well, I mean that's the battleground of ideas. I have an idea. Somebody else has an idea. Put the ideas together, and see what.
They have a lot of crap on Netflix, but they also have a lot of. Hey, you told me to watch Dark.
Yeah.
Amazing show.
Yeah, the catch. What I loved, one of the best things that they did all year, Dahmer.
I haven't seen that.
Oh dear God. That first episode is maybe the best episode of anything I've seen in a very, very long time. They've done shows like Mindhunters.
Oh God, I love Mindhunter. That's one of my favorite. Mindhunter and Babylon Berlin. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, not yet.
Okay, so you'd love that's dark. That's very dark, and it's set in Berlin, right between the wars.
Okay. There was also well, we did 18. Well, we didn't get around to it, but there was 1899. Yeah. They also just did All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that, and I haven't seen it yet.
Really, really good. It's so Netflix's original content, I think, is really strong. Their other movie selections suck.
Yeah, and then they have like it's like a tiered thing. They have their A-level content, and then they have the kissing booth. Those kinds of movies, and then they're
okay. I don't know what that is. Okay,
those are like they have like their C tier, the C tier content. Like
okay, not even the B team, it's the C team.
And then they have stuff like the very bottom, which is like the holiday Christmas wannabe Hallmark films that they do.
At least this. I don't know if I ever told you this, but a friend of mine, when I wanted to do this to learn how to use audio video equipment. So I said that's all I wanted to do, and I said I wasn't going to be another asshole with a channel. And so 6 weeks later, I had a channel up and running. But a friend of mine had this idea because I was like, well, what do you want? What should I do it on? I was like, I can't do politics. That'll give me stomach cancer. I'm not doing that. And he had this idea that I do reaction videos to Hallmark movies, and I could just roast the movie the entire time. And I'm like, one, I'd probably get sued back to the Stone Age and copyrighted to death. Two, I'd actually have to watch Hallmark movies.
Your brain would leak out through your ears.
Yeah, and so this is the direction I've gone in, and I haven't looked back, and it's working out fine for me so far. The Vigil. I don't think Sydney would like The Vigil. It's on Hulu. I watched it and it was okay.
We have to look it up.
It's on Hulu. Yeah,
I have Hulu.
You reviewed 4 Hallmark movies. Why did you lose a bet? All right. So, Sydney, tell us what you've got coming up. You tell us, what you're doing right now, and what you've got coming up for your channel. And I don't know if it's in there now, but I'll put the link to your description in here if it's not there as soon as this signs off.
So I think either at the end of this week or the beginning of next week, depending how my schedule goes, I have a video coming out on the Legends of the Fall. So. Oh
Lord. Okay. Oh, that movie. Okay.
Yeah. Are you a fan?
No, I'm not a fan, but I have seen it. Go ahead. I'll remind me after I'll tell you a story about it.
So I have that, and it's actually, you might not like this video because it's called In Praise of Legends of the Fall.
Oh Lord. Yes. Oh Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm going to be working next in January, I think, because it's kind of a longer deep dive, will be about Hitchcock's Lifeboat.
I have to tell you that Sydney talked to me about Lifeboat last week, and I got off the stream and immediately ordered a copy because we were talking about Rope and Notorious. And I ordered a copy, and I ordered a used copy. I got it for $2. It should be here any day now. It's due. I think it was due today, but it's running late because it's the holidays and everything's batshit. But I'm looking forward to actually reading to watching that. I haven't gotten around to it, but because I own Strangers on a Train and Psycho and Rope and all those different ones. But for Legends of the Fall, we did a show on 7. And I own it on Blu-ray, and you've got those additional tracks with audio commentary. And they had one with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, and I think Fincher. The 3 of them are talking while the movie is playing. And I had seen it so many times. I was like, I might as well just listen to the audio track. You don't even have to watch the movie at this point. And I think Brad Pitt said that they ran 7 for a test audience. And they advertised it as, come see 7 with Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall.
Oh my God.
And Morgan Freeman from Driving Miss Daisy. So they said like all these 40-something like school teacher moms showed up.
Definitely not the same audience.
Yeah, they all showed like all these women showed up to like sit in the theater and thought they were going to watch this cute movie with like Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. And he said that, we hid in the theaters, like we were in there watching. And they said when they walked out, they said at least 7 women said that they wanted to kick someone in the teeth. So add that into your commentary.
I will actually.
Okay, so you're going to be doing the deep dive for Hitchcock, and I look forward to that. That'll be great. Wait, what did you the first one?
Legends of the Fall.
Yeah, okay. I really am having a senior moment.
You're like, I don't even want to remember that movie.
Yeah, it's gone in one ear and out the other. This other movie now, Margot Robbie, maybe your first.
Oh yeah, my first live stream might be on Babylon. I'm gonna go hate watch it.
You never know. You might not.
I might like it though.
You might like it. Yeah,
I might.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a first for me with director Damien Chazelle. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. First time for everything. So
yeah.
We'll see how. Either way, I hope you do enjoy it because you don't want to sit there for 2 hours and just.
I think it's almost 3 hours actually.
Oh dear God. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like Avatar. Everybody else with you is gonna go to Avatar. You're gonna sit there and watch this other thing.
Right.
It'll be like that. Okay. So for me, I will be here tonight again at 8 p.m. With Eric from Hey Internet. Eric here and Morgan Scorpion, Julia Morgan over in the UK is going to join us for 47 meters down. 47 meters down, uncaged, which might be the only shark sequel that's actually worth a damn. It's actually a fun movie. It's not cinema, but it does fall. Like I'll say cinema, entertainment, and then just content. And this definitely falls in the realm of entertainment. So that'll be fun. Hold on a second. We got a couple last comments. We got a lot of comments. Oh, wait. He said he heard Legends of the Fall was decent. You heard wrong. Love commentaries. Yeah, commentaries are good. Hey, we got Video Tasties who stopped back in. He was here from my Media Drop video today saying hi. And they're just catching up a little bit. Okay, so that I think covers it for us. You and I will have to get together maybe after the holidays. Now, next week, the holidays are in full swing.
Yes, I saw you guys are doing, was it Miracle on 34th Street and
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. So I'm going to try to drop in for the chat if I can.
Okay, I'll send you a notification. I'll send you a text and say, hey, it's today, just in case you can make it, because I know you're going to be going crazy with the kids during the holidays. But yeah, on the 21st, I wanted to do something traditional. Last year we did George T. Scott's A Christmas Carol, which is actually my favorite version of A Christmas Carol, with the great David Warner as Bob Cratchit. And every version is great in its own way. But that's personally my favorite. And I think for Christmas, it's good to do traditional things. So, yeah, I've never seen A Miracle on 34th Street. And that's kind of how that came about. And I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life. Never seen it. Never seen it. So, yeah, like I said, first, just never got around to it.
I watch it every year.
Yeah, I know some people who do, seen it 37 times. It's like that, not a problem, 38, put it right in there, no problem.
It's so good.
But I've never gotten around to it. So I thought, too traditional. And episode 150 is going to be Miracle on 34th Street. We had talked when 150 landed about doing something like Cloverfield, but I'm actually glad that this is, because I love Cloverfield, but I'm glad that it's going to be this movie. Miracle on 34th Street and It's a Wonderful Life. I think one of the reasons I never saw It's a Wonderful Life is because I don't like Jimmy Stewart. I find him to be I find him to be that voice it goes right through me.
Okay.
So that's my story and I'm sticking to it, but it is one of the all-time greats, so I'm going to check it out. Okay, my thanks to Sydney from Cinema Cities. I'll send you those text messages on the day of. And if I don't see you again, before the holidays, have a Merry Christmas.
You too, and a Happy New Year.
And a Happy New Year to you too. And thank you so much for spending time on the channel this year. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to some more shows. Afternoons are fine if we can put it together. Evenings work too.
Yeah, and I see that you've got Carnival behind you.
Yeah.
On the shelf.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Oh gosh. One of my all-time favorite shows.
That was my introduction to Nick Stahl.
Yeah.
Who I'm a huge fan of. Even though he's had his difficulties. But it's also Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown, yeah.
Greatest role.
Brother Justin.
Yes. Isn't Amy Madigan his sister?
Yes, so good.
She's fantastic. That's just HBO was just cranking them out back. Remember when HBO just had great shows like Rome?
Yeah.
And it just, unfortunately, we didn't need, 6 seasons of Ballers, but fucking Ballers. I watched like one season of that, and then what I actually learned was that like football players are just dumber than dog shit. It's just like that was
the takeaway.
That was the takeaway. Like you were just the dumbest motherfucker alive. I swear to God, I've never seen anything like it. Okay, I want to close up from there. All the best. Stick around for a second after the outro, please. All right, thanks, and thanks to Patrick and Eugene from Video Tasties, and we'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. All the best, everybody.